How's it going everyone, it's Brevoice here and welcome to the channel. And in this video we'll be showing you guys how to implement TableView with expandable and collapsible sections. So when you click on the header, the corresponding cell that belongs to this section will expand, and when you click on it again it will collapse, and you can try it out. And when you click on the corresponding cell, so here, oh shit, you push to another view controller, and you can configure this view controller in any manner that you'd like, so just to expand. First of all, I would like to thank SC for suggesting this video. As I've mentioned before, if you have any question or any suggestion at all, you can just leave them down under the comment section below and we'll work on it as fast as we can. Well, let's start. Create new project, single view application. I'm just gonna name it TableView drop down. Next, create. Before we start, we are going to do the asset setup, so I suggest you should pause the video and go download the link I prepared for you guys under the description below first. Alright, once you've got the folder, you can go to assets and then just open asset setup, and you can drag background folder here in assets folder. And these are just the images for each movie. And next, let's just create one folder, so new group, and I'm just gonna call it expandable header view. Right click on it, we're gonna create new file, which is a Swift file. Next, we're gonna call it section. Here we are going to implement a struct called section as to the data type for holding the data for the section. So we need three parameters. The first one is genre, which is a string. The second one is the list of the movies, so movies is an array of string. And the third one is the boolean called expanded. Next, we need the initializer, so init with these three, so genre, which is a string, and then movies, which is also an array of string, and then expanded, which is a boolean. So self genre equal to genre, self dot movies equal to movies, self dot expanded equal to expanded. So we're done with implementing the section data type. So next we are going to create our custom expandable header view. So we're gonna right click on this folder, and then we're gonna create new file. This one is the Cocoa Touch class. Click next, and it is a subclass of UI table view header footer view, and I'm just gonna call it expandable header view. Click next, create. We are going to implement a protocol, so protocol, which is expandable header view delegate, and then we just need one function. I'm just gonna name it toggle section. I'm gonna name the parameter header, and we're just gonna pass header as this type, and then of course as well as the section, the current section, which is in. Next, we need two attributes. The first one is delegate, of course is the type expandable header view delegate, and the second one is section, so int here. I'm just gonna implement custom initializer, so custom init. We're just gonna take title, which is a string, a section, which is int, and the last one is delegate, which is of course expandable header view delegate. So self dot text label dot text equal to title, and then self dot section equal to section, and self dot delegate equal to delegate. And we also need layout subviews. We're gonna configure a little bit of the style, so super layout subviews. First, we are going to change the color of the text, so self dot text label dot text color equal to UI color dot white, and the next one is the background color, so self dot content view dot background color will be equal to UI color dot dark gray. And next, of course, we need the initializer of the expandable header view, so I'm just gonna type init with reuse identifier, super dot init with reuse identifier, which is this one. And then we're gonna simply just add the gesture recognizer, so our expandable header view will be able to detect whether it's clicked or not. So self.add gesture recognizer, UI tab gesture recognizer, target, which is self, action, selector, and I'm just gonna name this function select header action. Well, next let's implement select header function. So function select header action. I'm just gonna name the same parameter here, which is gesture recognizer. Just small g, and then of course this is the type tab gesture recognizer. And in this function, when our header view is selected, it will go directly to this function. So we are going to just subtract the cell out from the gesture recognizer dot view, and we're going to cast it to our expandable header view. Once we've got the cell, we're going to call the delegate, and we're going to call the toggle function. We're going to pass in this header, which is our self, and then pass the section, which is this cell dot section, which is the current cell that is being selected. And next we just add the required initializer. Perfect, that's it. We're done with the preparation for the expandable header view. And if this is too much for you guys, don't worry, all right? You will understand more and more once we go through the tutorial. So we are going to actually start by going to main.storyboard, and then we just add the table. So search for table view, and don't forget to add constraints. And we're going to add the prototype cell. Also table view cell, we're going to drag it in just right here and change the style from custom to basic. And we're going to click on the table view, control and drag the table view to our view controller. Data source, delegate. Make sure from the connection outlets here, you can see it right from here. All right. And then let's go to assistant editor, and then control drag the table view inside our view controller. I'm just going to name it table view. Next, let's close the assistant editor, and then just select the whole controller here, editor, and then embed it in navigation controller. Go back to our view controller, double click on the middle of it, and then just gonna type in movies. And that's it, we're done with the representation of the application. Next, let's go to view controller. And of course, we are going to implement UI table view delegate and UI table view data source. And we need one more thing, which is the data. So I'm just gonna name it sections, which will contain the array of sections. So you can just go back to the folder that you've downloaded, open the sections file, you can copy the whole variable here, and you can replace it right in. Perfect. So this is just a variable called the sections, and it's an array of the sections. So one is the animation and list of the movies and expanded files and so on. Next, let's implement the table view. So the first function that we need is a number of section. Of course, we are going to return the number of sections. So sections dot count, pretty straightforward. And then the next is number of row in each of the sections. So return the sections at section dot movies dot count. So this is the number of movies here. Perfect. And the next is the height for header. We are going to return the standard size for the cell, which is 44. Next is height for each of the row. This one will depend on the row that we wanted to hide. So if sections at index path dot section dot expanded, then we're going to return 44. Else we are going to hide this cell, so return 0. Next, we are going to need to add the height for the footer as well. This is just to separate each of the section, so it's easier to see. Next, let's go back up top to implement the expandable header view delegate, and then now we are going to create the custom view that we have made, which is the expandable header view. So view for header in section, we are going to create header, which is expandable header view, and then we're just gonna set the custom init here, passing the name of the section, so which is the genre, right? And of course the current section, so it is this section here. Perfect. And delegate will be self. Then we're just going to return back the header here. Next, we are going to implement for the cell. So cell for row at let cell equal to TableView dot DQ from identifier here, label cell, and then we are going to set this cell, the text title here, to be equal to the movie, the name of the movie correspondingly. So sections at index path, right, at specific section, and then dot movies at the specific row, so index path dot row, and we are going to return back the cell. Before we move on, let's just copy this identifier and then go back to main.storyboard, click on this cell, go back to inspector, and then just paste it in right here in the identifier, enter, and we're done. Let's go back to view controller. Next, we are going to complete the protocol, the expanding header view delegate, which is the function called toggle section, right? And this function is exactly where we are going to implement the expanding and collapsing for the table view. So first we are going to toggle the boolean value, so sections at this section dot expanded will be the opposite side of itself. So here we go. Next, we are going to reload the rows in the table view corresponding to each section, and of course it depends on the size of the movie array. So for I in 0 to sections at this section dot movies dot count, here we are going to reload the rows, so TableView dot reload rows at index path at row I, and section at this section with dot automatic. And last thing we need is the animation, so just add TableView dot begin updates, and at the end TableView dot end updates, and let's run to see the result. Alright, let's see. So at first we changed the color of the text, and then the color of the background, and of course we add a little bit of the footer, and then that's it. That's pretty much it. Let's just try to click on the header. Perfectly working. And then, you know, we just need to add one more, which is the when we click on the cell, it will be pushed to another view controller. So let's get back to it. I'm just gonna create the same folder here, create new group. I'm just gonna call it simple VC, right click on it, create new file, Cocoa Touch class, next, which is a subclass of UI view controller. Let's call it simple view controller. Also create XIB file, next, create. Next, let's go to XIB file. Just add one simple image view. Okay, here you go. Add constraints. Go to the assistant editor, control and drag the image view inside the simple view controller. So I'm just gonna name it movie image. Close the assistant editor, go back to the simple VC, And we just need one more attribute, which is the name of the image. So image name string here. And in view.load, we just add one simple code, which is setting the movie image will be equal to UI image with the named image name. And next, let's add the title. So title will be equal to the same image name. We need last is the function to initialize the image name. So function custom init will take image name as a string, and then we're gonna set our image name equal to the parameter image name. Oops, sorry, dot image here. And let's save the file also as the xib. Save it. And that's it. We're done with the preparation for the simple view. Let's just go back to the view controller, add one more function when the cell is selected. So did selected, I believe. Here, this select a row at. So we are going to create simple view controller here, and then let's set it by the custom init. Okay, let's pass in the image name which corresponding in the sections array. So sections at index path dot section dot movie index, so index path dot row. Next, after the cell is selected, also don't forget to deselect it. So TableView dot deselect row at this index path with animation. Okay, and next we just need to push the simple view controller. So self dot navigation controller dot push view controller. We're gonna pass in simple view controller with animation, and I believe that's it. Let's see the result. And here we go, guys. Let's just try animation. Superhero horror, perfectly working, and when you click on it, it will push to another view controller. And of course, you can configure this view controller as in any manner that you'd like to hold the data that you want. And yeah, that was scary. Anyway, that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for watching to the end of the video, and if you find this video helpful, please leave a like or subscribe. And if you have any question or any suggestion, you can just leave them down in the comment section below. And of course, everybody, just keep coding, and we'll see you guys in the next one.